Hi guys, this is Rain. I wanted to talk about survivor's guilt or survivor's remorse. And as I don't know if y'all know, but I'm majoring in psychology, and I wanted to talk about something personal, but I think it might help other people, even though I'm still dealing with it and I'm trying to heal. But yeah, let's get into it. So, as some of y'all might know, I lost my dad in January due to colon cancer, but it's way deeper than that, and the, that's why I want to talk about it, and it's gonna be the topic of this video. So, let's start with my dad and his personal life. He grew up in a abusive family, which is pretty common in Iran, especially back then. And like back then in what do you say it in like 80s or 90s, And my dad was, oh shit, yeah, my dad was a pretty talented guy. He had so much passion and so much hopes and dreams that he could have lived for, but unfortunately he couldn't because his depression, his mental health, and addiction stole his dreams. So pretty much he grew up in abusive environments, not just his family, just the society in Iran, because I'm from Iran, my dad is from Iran, and things over there is it's just a lot of pressure on men. And when my dad married my mom, he had to not drafted, but like in Iran, it's like a mandatory thing to go in the army bases. Well, I can't really translate it in English because it's something that y'all don't have here. But yeah, pretty much he had to go to the army bases and just like be there for 2 years. And from the stories that I've heard, that's when his addiction started, because that's a lot of stress, that's a lot of abuse. And his addiction started slowly from there, and then it got worse. It got to the point, it started from opium, and then it got to the point that he was doing, and that's when he started to get really aggressive, and then I'm going to talk about it later. So pretty much he was aware and he was blaming himself. He was really depressed. He kind of started to isolate himself from everyone because he was ashamed. And I heard from my mom that the reason why they decided to have me was because my dad wanted to get sober. And he told my mom that maybe if we have a baby, that would give me some sort of, hold on, yeah, motivation to get sober for my baby, right? But unfortunately, he couldn't. He relapsed. And here's what I'm gonna say. And I feel like a lot of y'all need to put your a lot of y'all need to understand your parents. At least for me, I'm really understanding, because I really try to analyze that what happened to my dad that he got to that point, right? So I never blamed it on him because I'm dealing with the same shit. And addiction is hell. You think you have some motivation to get sober, but it's never enough. And at first, even now, I feel like I was supposed to have a purpose on his life to make him sober, but I couldn't. And sometimes I think to myself, I could have saved him. Or actually, sometimes I'm like, you can't really save people who don't want to be saved, right? My dad was that kind of person. He didn't want to get saved, even though he was ashamed. He was depressed because he was doing drugs, right? But he couldn't do anything, you know. He was just way too deep in his addiction that even though he hated it, he couldn't escape from it, you know. So yeah, it all, like, when they had me, I don't remember, but my mom told me when I was 2 or 3, my dad was hallucinating, and he was pretty much chasing my mom with a knife. But he wasn't in a normal state of his mind, so I can't really blame him, even though it's a horrible thing to do and it's really traumatizing. And he ended up passing out that night because he did too much. But anyways, the point of this video is about the guilt you feel after losing someone. So yeah, after I lost my dad, I was blaming myself. I was crying because I could never make him proud. I could never make his dreams come true because he had so much passion. He had so much talent. When I tell you guys, he used to paint cars on the wall. And I'm not talking about some basic cars. I'm talking about realistic classic cars. And I have a collection of his paintings and drawings, which I can show y'all in a second video. But yeah, he was really talented. He had so much passion. He had so much dreams. He was obsessed with Pink Floyd. And my dream was to take him to a Pink Floyd concert. But I never had the chance because he died in January. And that's when the survivor's guilt started for me. Every day, 24/7, in my head, I was like, I could have sit there when he was going through pain and crying from the pain, wishing he would die. I could have held his hand. I could have hugged him and cried with him and be like, I'm here for you. And I will do anything for you to make your dreams come true, right? But I don't think I was ever able to show how much I really love him, you know? And he always blamed himself on being a drug addict, and he thought he's not a good dad for me, which it wasn't true. I loved him. I loved him the most, and I couldn't show him enough, even though I tried to buy him Pink Floyd vinyls or Pink Floyd t-shirts, buy him flowers, writing little letters. That wasn't enough. He just had that mentality that he's never enough and he's just a piece of failure and he's a bad father. I wanted to add one more thing about my dad. So when you get to a point that you're just way too depressed, you feel like an absolute failure, you feel like, oh, I'm just a drug addict, my daughter knows it, and she's probably embarrassed that I'm his father, which I never felt that way. I was proud of him because even though I knew how depressed he was and how hard he was trying to just keep himself alive for me, I didn't blame him. But you can't really, when you're too depressed, you can't really see that people are trying to understand you and help you and make you feel better about yourself, because that's what I was trying to do. I would always tell him that, Dad, I understand you and I will never judge you, because I know the shit that you're dealing with today is because of the shit that your parents or whatever, your friends, your ex, which was my mom, did to you. And yep. So yeah, pretty much when you get to that point that you're isolating yourself and drugs are taking over your life and your dreams, you won't really care about yourself. You can't care about yourself because you're way too busy thinking whether you're enough or you're just a failure. At least how I feel. But I don't have a health issue. I'm just saying I understand my dad, because when you get to that point, it's really hard to take care of yourself. So yeah, addiction is not just addiction. And addiction doesn't necessarily mean that you will die by an overdose. Addiction will kill you in different ways. Addiction makes you careless about yourself, about other people, which my dad really cared about me. But what I'm saying is, when you get to that point that your whole life is about getting high and just escape the reality, it doesn't matter if you have cancer. It doesn't matter if you're dying. So yeah, addiction kills people in different ways. Addiction ruins families. It did it for me. Addiction it's kind of like a cycle. If you're lucky enough, you will end the cycle. But yeah, addiction is it's not just about overdosing. Addiction kills you slowly. Addiction ruins lives. Addiction leads to other stuff that might kill you. Same as my dad. If my dad wasn't addicted, he would have taken care of his health. And who knows, maybe he would have been alive today. But yeah. He's happy now because he was really depressed. And I'm happy for him, even though I really miss him. But yeah. This is life, this is the reality. Just don't get addicted to drugs. So yeah, I really tried hard to show him that I really care, and he's a good father, and he's my best friend. He's the most important person in my life. But he just couldn't see it. Sometimes you hate yourself so much that you can't accept love from people. I was his daughter, and I was trying my best, but he didn't believe it. And after he died, I was blaming myself. I told myself I could have brought him to a Pink Floyd concert. I could have helped him with his addiction. I could have, But anyways, yeah, I could have sit next to him, cry with him, telling him how much I care about him. how much I love him as my father, how much he's been a good father to me, even though he can't feel it. I still have those memories of him taking me to parks at night, buying me street food from Iran. And I feel like he was there for me and I was there for him, because I didn't grow up with my mom. So I had him, he had me. And even though he was dealing with addiction, he never got high in front of me. And I feel like that's something that makes me proud of him, because he could have traumatized me. He could have been like those other men that get drunk, get high in front of their kids. He never did that to me. He never did that to me. It was always nice. He would always take me out at night to the parks, to wherever I wanted to go, to random places that I wanted to go that didn't even make sense. He was always down. And there was some times that I couldn't see him for like 3 days, and I never knew why, but now I know why. Because he was high, and he didn't want me to see him high. But let's get to another point, which is kind of positive. Few months ago, I was crying really hard for my dad, wishing he was here, or at least wishing I could do something for him before he died, right? You don't believe me, but the same exact night, I had a dream about him, saying, I don't want you to cry. I'm in a great place right now, and I'm enjoying my life here. And it made me happy because he was suffering here. He was in so much pain, mentally and physically. And that dream was something that no matter like no words can explain how. It was just like, I don't know, I felt like he really visited me in my dream to send me a message, you know? So yeah, the point of this video is to never blame yourself. If you have like lost someone and you feel like you're experiencing survivor's guilt, it's not your fault. Or if you know someone that you really love and you know that they're sick, please do anything you can to make them happy and show them that they are important in your life. Because I wish my dad knew how much I loved him and how important he was in my life. Because back then, when I first found out that he has cancer, I was in denial mode, and I told myself, if I ever lose my dad, I won't make it. But here am I. Am I happy? No. But I'm just doing it, and I want to live his dreams. I might go to a Pink Floyd concert. I might be able to buy his dream car and just make him happy. So yeah. Survivor's guilt is a shitty feeling, but trust me, it's never your fault as long as you're doing your best to show love to people that you know they're depressed or they're going through a lot of shit, and they need someone to tell them that, oh, you're enough, I love you, you're enough for me, you know. And I wish I could tell him that I really love him. I could never say I love him directly. I would write letters and I would be like, oh, I love you, Dad. But I never said I love you to his face. And I hope he knows that I really love him. I mean, he's up there and he probably knows. So, yep.